Welcome back, everyone, to Smash This Podcast. This episode of Lucha Underground this week was absolutely insane. But before we get into that, let me introduce my partner in crime this week, Mr. Mile High Laz. How the hell are you?
I'm relatively spiff, sir. Yourself?
Oh, man, it's the flu's going through the house, and I've been fairly lucky so far. Knock on wood.
This is the reason why I chose not to have my own chemical weapon factories that were genetically linked to me. Mainly due to the fact I'm one of those humans, like, you could put me in a room with, 100 people with Ebola, 100 adults. I'm good. Like, dude, I could run around butt naked. Don't matter. You put me within, a quarter mile of, a 4-year-old with a sniffle, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. It's just over. Just death.
Yeah, that's kind of me too. I don't know if that's a guy thing or what, but my wife's been walking around the house with this 104 fever lately, and it's just
geez, brutal.
Yeah, she's sicker than a dog. So, but I'm good. I'm just quarantining my little zone here, and let's do this.
You've got the tape. You got the hand paint and blood. Don't open, dead inside.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Don't talk to me until morning.
Yeah, just leave me alone, please.
Yeah. We got Season 3, Episode 4, Brothers in Broken Arms. Just a general preface to the episode. What did you think, dude?
All right, man. Okay, I've got Matt Stryker, he is really hit or miss with me. And I know the guy has his hands full to the utmost with Vampiro, because Vampiro is such a wild card because the guy's mood can change, and it's just how Vampiro is wired. It's nothing personal. It's just who he is. And Stryker tonight, dude, he was on his game. Even when Vampiro left him short, he was on fire. I don't know what was up, but he was exceptional. And I will give kudos where kudos is due. Stryker knocked it out of the park tonight.
Yeah, to me personally, he usually does, and he throws in little corny things once in a while, and Vampiro just feeds off of him dude, what the hell was that? It's just, if he said something a little off, just kind of okay, we'll just pretend it didn't happen.
He's one of those guys he's really hit or miss, and it's just weird. But tonight, I don't know what it was, but he was kind of in a groove, and Vampiro was just Vampiro was doing everything that he could, because I think he kind of saw that Stryker was on a roll. So It was just okay, you know what? Most of the time I play off you, but tonight you're playing off me.
Yeah. Oh, man. Where do we start with this? This was such a loaded episode.
Yeah, dude, there was so much going on. I hope you got way better notes than I did, because pretty much I started off, I wrote Lucha Underground at the top, and then I drew a picture of a monkey fucking a football. So you're going to have to help me out here.
Was that during one of the commercials? I missed that part.
Yeah. Third commercial. It was the 14th commercial break of the first hour.
Oh, damn. All right. I'll have to go back and watch that again. Did it have a mask? Did it have a mask on? Never mind.
That got dark fast, and I'm not talking Pentagon dark. We're just talking dark.
Beyond Pentagon dark. So this episode starts out with Sexy Star in the locker room, and she's joined by Dario Cueto. And they're talking about the Gift of the Gods Championship, and he's trying to be intimidating and shit to her, and she's just not having it, Well,
you know what, Cueto? That was a really good interaction, because it was kind of it was Cueto being Cueto. With lack of a better term, it's just. He kind of built her up a little bit, and then he just tore her 2 floors lower than what he built her up. It was, it was to beat Michael Cole's dead term to death. That was vintage Cueto.
Oh, how dare you? No, that's cool. That's no, you're right. It was. I mean, he's always trying to stir shit up and everything.
And the thing is, dude, he's got the ultimate weapon standing behind him. So it's like nobody can really touch him because if they do, Matanza will rip their arms and legs off and beat them to death with them.
Yeah, and use them as lollipops later. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he'll take it back and barbecue, and he'll invite the rest of the cast over for the party, and then that'll get really weird.
Yeah. Too much tequila and barbecue later, and where's half of the temple guys?
Matanza, and just like King Cuerno's mask like falls to the ground. My bad. Sorry, guys. My bad.
Matanza just burps. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I thought that was stuck in there. Here, you guys can take that. There you go.
Here's a championship belt for you. And then as this segment is wrapping up, in runs Mundo. He's looking for Taya. Turns around and sees Sexy Star standing there with her Gift of the Gods championship, and he's like, I've never formally introduced myself. It's typical Mundo. He's so cocky, and he's so trying to be so smooth and so high.
He's so good.
He's hilarious.
He's so good. It's just ridiculous how good that guy is.
Oh god, yeah, he's definitely one of the top 3 favorite guys for me on the show. Just it's hilarious.
In pure storytelling, because like the thing is like Mundo is the most bizarre twist of personas because he's a chicken shit heel that'll stand and fight, which is really weird. Because usually you're one or the other. Either you're a heel that'll square off or you run. Yeah. Like Mundo will do both. Which makes him unique. Like, I mean, he's just ridiculous. I mean, he is such a quality worker, and his persona has come so far. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of those guys that, like, if he ever goes back to the WWE, Vince is going to have to just throw truckloads of money at him. And that's the only way that it's going to work. And they're going to have to give him 100% creative freedom to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have to swing far from what he's doing now. He's just gotten better over the course of the last 5 years.
It's just polish. It's just polish. It's polish. Yeah. It's time. It's the ability to travel and work different styles and work quality competition from all over the world. Like, dude, the thing that cracks me up about Mundo is he goes and works the Maritimes in Canada.
Okay.
Which is kind of it's kind of one of those rites of passage in independent wrestling from the stories I've been told. And like, yeah, this is like a yearly occurrence for him. Usually people go once and they never go again because it's such a miserable experience. But he goes, dude, every time I go up there, I work somebody different. I learn something else.
And that's what you should do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he introduces himself and, trying to be intimidating. And he's like, by the way, I'm going to be the next Gift of the Gods champion. And, shakes her hand. And then, he like pulls her close to him, like trying to scare her. But then she switches it on him and, gives him a firm grip. And he's like, hey, what the hell? And then she lets him go. And then he kind of twitches and runs off. And she's like, oh, what the hell? And she's so pissed off that she kicks the locker. So obviously she doesn't have quite the power of Mil Muertes because Mil Muertes basically just blew over how many lockers. And she kicks one that didn't even dent it.
The thing that was so awesome, now this is from the Shirley production side, okay, how they got that sound was probably from a cardioid mic in the bottom of that locker. And because when that bang hits, because it reverberates around in such a small area, it sounds like you're tearing the world in half.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's such a basic audio trick. But once again, this is something that Lucha Underground does magnificently.
Oh yeah, and this is just getting into it. So let's get into the first match. We see Sinestro de la Muerte versus Prince Puma, and I really didn't have a clue what matches were going on besides what was said for the main event And then the Atomicos match was also advertised earlier this week on their social media. We got 4 friggin' Slamtown matches this week.
That was
Holy
fun,
crap.
man. Fun show.
Yeah. So like I said, Sinestro, and I always shorten it. So Sinestro versus Prince Puma, and talking about, Prince Puma's been in this new darker gear. They commented how he looked more focused in this match. Not so, not necessarily heelish, just not playing up to the crowd as much. Because when he first, when the show first started, he'd be bouncing.
He was a white meat babyface.
Yeah,
he was a white meat babyface when that show started.
Absolutely, yeah. And now he's just badass. He's on a mission, and he's gonna just kick everybody's ass in his way, And Sinestro was in his way tonight, so.
The match itself, there wasn't a lot there. I mean, Puma beat the snot out of that guy.
Yeah, it was.
It was intended to do that. That was the intent. We will talk about that more later.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it was. Puma looked impressive. Sinestro sold. Match was over. Puma did his little exit thing, and he was on his way, and then we moved on to the next match. That was the least memorable match of the show, and I really enjoyed Puma's work.
Oh, you forgot who came in the match, dude.
What?
Bill Muertes showed up at the end of the match.
Oh, that's right. He showed up ringside, and he hit him with a flatliner.
No, he that's how he finished off Sinestro.
Right. He finished Sinestro with the flatliner while Bill Muertes was standing ringside.
Right, and then he, once he finished him off, then he did a suicide dive out of the ring and started attacking Mill. And then it looked like they was going to, escalate back into the ring. Puma gets in the ring, and Mill's being held back by Katrina. No, just not right now. And so we got a nice little taste of what's to come. Not too much, just a little bit. It was cool, and it just shows how much, like you said, Puma's focused now.
Yeah, those guys have really good chemistry too. They seem to work off of each other really well.
Yeah. And this is if you're character-wise, this has bothered Puma since the end of season 1 when he lost his championship. So now it's time for him to, get that pride back.
Are you talking about proper wrestling storytelling? Would you stop that?
Oh God, that's what they do in this show, though.
Just stop it. That doesn't exist anymore. Vince McMahon told me that doesn't happen.
Oh, but it does.
Oh, okay. All right. That's even better.
That's the best part of this show, dude.
Because it feels like now I feel like I'm challenging authority.
Oh, well, you don't have to challenge Dario Cueto, so you're safe.
Yeah. And anything, I would probably just throw food at Matanza and try to distract him. Just stop.
Yeah, it's like chicken wing mania. Here we go.
Yeah. Yes. Why not? We're down. But yeah, that match was a blast, dude. I dug the match. It was fun. It was short. It was what it needed to be.
Yeah. all the matches
a couple of purposes, so
all the matches tonight were short, but they felt like they were at least 15 minutes each long. But they weren't. They had a lot of content to them.
Yeah, there was no wasted time. That was for way sure.
Yeah. So next we get another segment in Cueto's office. Cueto's a busy guy lately. Holy crap. He's in his office, and Cortez Castro comes in, and Cueto's just giving him a death stare I know, but you don't know. He's like, you called me, boss? And he slowly walks up to him, and he gives him this big, awkward, tight, big guy hug. And he's like, he's giving him his condolences for the loss of his friend, which is so hilarious. He's like, He's like, I'm sorry for your loss. But it's almost like he says under his breath, but I killed that son of a bitch.
But that was me. My bad. Sorry.
And he's like, but the show must go on. And then you hear in the background outside the office, Melissa Santos announcing the next match and announcing Cortez Castro. And he kind of looks back at Cueto like, what? It's like awkward. He opens up the door, the lights are flashing and everything. And he walks out, boom, not even prepared, walks out into a match against Pentagon Dark, of all people to not be prepared for.
Yeah, that was not a good thing. That was like one of those, like, I'm sitting there on my couch and just going, oh, that's not good. Like, the second that I saw him in the window, I went, oh, that's way bad. That's not good at all.
It's like Cueto is such a shit. He's like, I'm sorry for your loss, but now I'm gonna have you destroyed, bitch. It's like, oh, what? Oh my god. So yeah, this was a very quick match. This was a squash match. And it's meant to just drive the storyline of, Cueto is gonna be on this guy's ass the rest of the season. I'll be shocked if Cortez Castro makes it out of this season alive. Period. It's things just are not looking good for him right now.
Oh, absolutely not. He's one of those, like, he's one of the people that I'm looking at going like, okay, if somebody else is going to get killed off on this show, he's number one and number two is Joey Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah. And he finishes him off with the package pile driver, just a wicked finisher, and then breaks his arm. It's classic Pentagon behavior here, and it's just another exclamation point on Cortez Castro saying, like, hey, you just better watch yourself,
Yeah, that's such a that's one of those situations. It's like it seems so down in the order of things that are going on, but it's one of those storylines that it's like that could go off at any particular second. It would not matter.
Yeah, it's part of the whole backstory, what's going on, as far as like, the cops and after Cueto and all that stuff. It's just a little part of it. So, yeah.
See, I don't know, man. Like, tonight there was so much going on. It was one of those things where I was like, immediately, like, after the show was over, I'm going, yeah, I'm vastly underprepared for this podcast because I feel like I missed a ton. Even though, like, I think I blinked like 3 times in an hour.
Yes. It's okay, man. I got you. We'll get through it. It's okay.
All right. Okay. All right. We got this.
And after we discuss this, I'm gonna sidetrack back to last week's episode. There was a section of the episode that we talked about.
You're encouraging me to go off on a tangent? I'm all about this. If we have learned anything about me at this point, tangent is my middle name.
There's a section of last week's show that we kind of went over, but not in detail. But I did some research between then and now, and I can, talk a little bit about it a little more in length. So, but
I know what you're talking about. Okay, I'm with you now. I'm caught up.
It's what I sent you. It's what I DM'd you last week.
I'm caught up. Like, the second you said, like, we talked about it a little bit last week, and I got more. I'm like, oh, I know what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, and it was one of the best parts of last week's episode that almost everybody missed.
Yeah, and it's like, it's the box. It's the box. It's like, it's in the box. It's the box.
Yes.
And it's so fun because it's like, what's in the box?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have any idea what that stuff means. And it's like, I'm already excited to talk about it. Let's go.
There we go. All right, so back to this week's. We get to the Atomicos match, which I was a little confused by the meaning of it, and they said this was the second Atomicos match. I don't know when the first one was. They must have like said it so fast somewhere within the last 2 seasons. I didn't realize it was that match. But it's basically just throwing a bunch of oddities together, which really it doesn't make any sense because these are all like tight teams. These 2 teams, you know? So,
yeah, like their definition of what it was supposed to be for and what they actually put forth, 2 totally different things.
Yeah, I mean, the meeting was kind of like, okay, you got 4-on-4 and the ring's going to explode like an atom. That's kind of like, I righted that in my head like, okay, that makes sense to me. That's what that's going to mean now.
What the intent of it is to basically put 4-on-4, but you're supposed to have extreme opposing forces on both sides. It's basically Survivor Series.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it's Survivor Series with no elimination. It's single pinfall.
Right. So, and the forces against each other in this match is pretty high. So we have the Trios champions, Aerostar, Phoenix, and Drago, along with the Gift of the Gods champion, Sexy Star, versus Mundo, PJ Black, Jack Evans, and Taya, the Worldwide Underground. This is match number 3 of the night. Lasted almost 10 minutes. And, man, all I got to say between last week and this week, Evans must have found his Don Pouty pills. Because he was still corny as ever, you know, flipping around and being sarcastic and, hey, can't catch me, you know. But
That's what he's supposed to do.
He worked a lot better this week than last week. Last week he was just a hot, emotional emo mess.
Yeah,
You
it's like before the show started tonight, I'm really surprised Jack Evans was able to perform at the tapings, mainly due to the fact that I saw him killed in Reseda, California in 2015. So the fact that he was able to perform at this show is really amazing, and the fact that Brian Cage was not incarcerated, that's something else that's yet even more amazing.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude. Let's put it this way. I have never seen a human being do 2 twists and almost 2 full flips off a clothesline. Like, it was one of the... I'm like, he's dead. It's just that automatic response, like, yep.
Yeah.
All right, pour a little bit of liquor for my fallen homie Jack Evans. Okay, we can move on.
And speaking of Jack Evans, he finishes off this match by pinning Sexy Star. But there was just a crap ton of action. I didn't write anything down specific that happened in the match. But
what happened to Taya?
Lot of fun. Taya, took a nasty fall out of the ring. Something.
Oh, okay.
Something with her, she was grabbing her leg or her knee or something, and then they said she was screaming in agony. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, you could hear her audibly. It was just one of those things that I didn't see what happened.
Yeah, everything. There was so much going on, and I saw her go out of the ring, and then when she hit, then all of a sudden she was in a fetal position, grabbing her leg, screaming. So I'd have to go back and look at it again, see exactly what happened, but yeah, she looked like she was hurting for certain.
Yeah, and the thing is you know what? With her, she's good enough that could be total work.
It could be. Yeah, she is that good.
It's with some of the female wrestlers, I would kind of go, I don't know, I'd be a little bit more skeptical, okay, well, she's probably legit hurt because she's not that talented. But Ty is one of the ones that you can look at and go, she 100% is that talented, and she's probably laughing her ass off right now. Everybody's sitting at home going, uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, crap.
Oh.
When you see, Natalia, now granted, she is, from WWE, she is a great wrestler. Yeah. But when she's selling something in the ring, she sounds like a sea lion having sex. Dear God.
Dude, she sells like Bret Hart. Which is like, he has like 3 selling facials and 3 selling poses. And he talks about Ric Flair's lack of range. But that's a totally different conversation.
I'll show you range.
Yeah, it's kind of like, dude, Brett, have you ever done like the super flippy do over the top rope and then run down to the other end and jump and then take a top rope bump? I don't think so, Brett. So you just shut your wet hair up. Okay.
You're complaining ass.
Yeah, just be happy.
Right.
Hey, Brett, watch Lucha Underground. They do flips. It's great.
Right. That's why we talk about this. It makes us happy. All right, back to the show. We get a segment that I didn't see this coming at all, although a snippet of this was in the trailer, so it all makes sense now, exactly what we were seeing in the Season 3 trailer. Mil Muertes is in his little, like, mini temple, dojo, yoga, meditation,
Yes.
hut, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know.
He also has a rock garden. It's really amazing.
Candles are there, and George Michaels is in the corner singing "Careless Whisper" quietly. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Dude, it's good to be the king. I mean, who am I to question?
So he's standing there, and he slowly turns around, and Sinestro de la Muerte is behind him. He's knelt down, head bowed.
Yeah, his day's about to get way worse real quick.
Yeah, and Katrina walks up behind him, and he says, Sinestro's sorry for what happened out there. Or something to that effect, saying that Sinestro's sorry. But then tells Mil that he's failed us for the last time. Slowly raises his head, and then snaps and breaks his neck. No more Sinestro de la Muerte.
Hey, now wait a second. Sinister Death. Now he's Sinister Death. Like, this is a whole new gimmick. He's going to come back as the undead version of him. It's going to be amazing.
I don't know if he's coming back. Because
may not be under the mask. He may be back, but we may be seeing him as someone else.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the wonderful that's the wonderful part about Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Is people can be reborn. It's cool.
But she sucked out his soul, which was a pretty powerful soul because it was the combination of the other 2 guys that were in the Disciples of Death. So you had 3 times of a powerful soul that she sucked out of him and just across the room to Mil Muertes. He sucked it in. His eyes are glowing. He's a happy, evil guy.
It's good to be the king.
And then she goes up to him and says, I want you to go do the same thing to Prince Puma.
Yeah, I want to know how that conversation... Hey, Mil, what'd you do today? I got a soul blown on me by Katrina. I bet you did.
And I mean, it's not all bad for Sinestro de la Muerte because he did get a lick of death out of it, which is pretty cool. He doesn't know it, but
dude, he would. I mean, dude, he got the tongue job on the way out. I mean, things could be worse. It'd be all right.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Sinestro de la Muerte.
Still the dead. Rest in peace. Rest in death. Sinister Death.
Yeah. Death. We get to
You can bring him back as Murder, Death, Kill. He could be MDK. We could do this.
If you say it in Spanish, it probably sounds a lot cooler.
Probably. But see, like, one of those words probably doesn't have a translation into Spanish or something. So it would be just like Spanish, English, and it would just be weird.
Yeah. It'll be like, Muerte!
Dude, that's my favorite part about watching AAA, dude. That's the best part. Is the words that there are no Spanish words for, so they have to bust them out in English.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to a match called for 10 minutes, didn't understand a single word until all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Frankensteiner. It's like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I understood that. Like, hold on. Like, Is my language skill going up? I don't understand what's going on.
They didn't. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you can't take me anywhere, everybody. I'm sorry. J-Bone tries to keep me on a leash. He does his damnedest. He does good work.
I try. I'm getting better at it. I try to keep it tight. I just scratch that last line.
Hey-o.
Last but certainly not least, match number 4 of the episode. Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Chavito.
With Rey Mysterio. This is just juniors.
Yeah, there were way too many juniors in this match.
I'm just realizing that now.
The ironic part about it is everybody in that match is a junior, and not one person in that match could qualify as a junior heavyweight.
Well,
they're all too heavy.
I don't know.
Dude, this new Ray is probably 225. He's big.
Well, he's bigger now than when this was shot, but yeah, I hear you.
I mean, if not, he's close. I mean, the other two are definitely, but
he's pretty jacked for a.
Yeah, man, he's just like he's gonna be like Ram Man by the time he's done, dude. He's gonna be like 4'3" tall, 4'3" wide, and he'll be able to jump like 19 feet in the air. It'll just be insane,
like comic book Kevin.
Yes, I'm 100% okay with this. I believe performance-enhancing drugs should be allowed. I believe if you choose to do them, they should be encouraged. I want to see somebody throw a 130-mile-an-hour fastball. This is a thing I want to see.
If Cueto can do cocaine in the office, which is another thing
of course he can.
Which is another thing I fairly missed last week. Because I heard somebody talking about it.
He is like, the thing that's so funny about him is like his delivery. Like the more and more I see him, like that guy when they gave him that character, he went home and watched Scarface. That was the first thing he did. Because if you look at his mannerisms and the way that he kind of sits in his chair and how he sits at his desk and stuff like that, it's like you could totally see Tony Montana if he looked at him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If Tony Montana owned a wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's like if you took his Coke money and it opened up an underground fight ring, totally believe it. I'm in.
Oh, God, yeah. And then, the makers of Scarface are watching this now going, oh, why didn't we do that?
Yeah, like, dude, this could have been a sequel. We could have made so much more money.
Right? Cueto with a machine gun saying, say hello to my temple. I don't know.
Say hello to my temple friends.
Yes. So the main event, like I said, Chavo versus Dragon with Rey Mysterio as a special guest referee. At this point, my head was just like warped from everything that had gone on in this episode. So I really didn't pay that much attention to the match. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong.
Everybody involved. I mean, you have 3 talented people in the ring.
Oh, sure.
Odds are something good is going to happen. It's like the one person I would like to kind of single out, like Dragon Azteca is a good worker. But Chavo Guerrero was a guy that I was never a big fan of because he was always the second Guerrero.
He was, but I mean, like
I never really bought into him because it kind of seemed like he was bouncing off of Eddie. But seeing him here, it's like he's that like soak it in heel. He's like Macho King Randy Savage, soak it in heel. Yeah. And that's a special kind of heel. Like, you don't see many heels that are like that. Like, I mean, Jericho might be one, but it's like one of those things where it's like, that's such a unique persona for a heel, and especially considering the fact that he doesn't do a lot of talking. So he literally just goes out and just is like, come on. Like, come on. Like, I know you've been waiting for this. Come on.
And just knowing, if you're a fan of the WWE, or WCW, these guys go way, way back, and it's just cool to see these guys interacting. I have absolutely no doubt that Chavo's going to get some kind of match later this season with Ray, maybe sooner than later. And and they've fought a million times. I don't care. I want to see it. I want to see it in this atmosphere.
Yeah, because the thing is like they could have done this match 100 times elsewhere, but because of the environment, because of the malleability of rule set, because of the ability, with the cameras and things like that, like this match is going to be unique to anything they've done, just because the amount of coverage this match will have will far exceed any other match they've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, as far as camera shoot wise, they're going to have so much. They've got so much more available to them in this environment than they do almost in any other environment they've ever worked in. Maybe even more so than any environment they've ever worked in.
Yeah. Although the last time these two were in a ring together that I remember, Chavo beat the absolute snot out of Ray. He was hanging upside down and just railing on his knees with a steel chair, which when I was watching it, gave me just made me cringe, because Ray was just like screaming, like literally screaming, like he was dying. And that's my last memory of those two interacting together, and that's several years ago. So, this has been brewing,
And it's like, and the thing is you've got two of the classic Mexican wrestling families.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is the Hatfield-McCoys, pretty much. It's two families that have been doing this for generations, and this is just the latest segment of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just going to get better from here. Just because there's so many little things going on. This guy wants this guy, but this guy wants this guy, and they're all going to, interweave at some point, and it's awesome. Chavo gets beat by Dragon Azteca Jr. and there's a little shenanigans at the end. Rey Mysterio gets a 619 in on Chavo, which is, it's classic. It's cool.
Dude, Rey Mysterio's mask was so money tonight. The 619s all over the mask, like the old Riddler mask that he had. It's a unique mask. Like, I've never seen him wear that particular mask. Like, I've seen a lot of the masks that he wears, but that one I'd never seen.
Okay. I was more distracted just by the ref shirt, just how. But when's the last time you saw Ray in a ref shirt? I don't think I've ever seen him.
How tiny that ref shirt actually looked.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, Ray, did you borrow your kid's ref shirt? Like, what the hell's going on, man?
Yeah, right. He keeps tugging on the Lucha Underground.
Dude, we could have totally popped for a medium, man. Like we had that in the budget, Ray. If you asked for it, we could have done that.
Right. But no, he's got to be, buff Ray.
He's something, man. Like, dude, like he's one of those guys. Like, his body transformation has been really, really unique, and it's like, I don't know how much of that is being off the road and being able just to kind of focus on working out and getting healthy. I don't know, because it's like a lot of these guys, we've seen them in like such a rundown condition over the entirety of their careers.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like you look at it and you're going like, damn, dude, that's crazy. But it's like you got somebody who's used to training, used to doing all this stuff, but now he's at home and he can just do that. I don't know what the concept of that is. It's like, I have never had a point in my life where I could just go, you know what? I'm just going to wake up and work out 3 hours every day. I just haven't done it. So, I don't know what that will have. I don't know what will happen to the body. I have no concept. So he's one of those guys that I just look at him and I'm just like, dude, he just seems to be getting in better shape. He's like Triple H. Triple H is developing new muscles at this point. And I don't know how.
Yeah.
Dude, he can actually flex his mustache now. It's really weird.
Yeah, you can also flex the wrinkles in the back of his neck too. It's scary.
Somebody's got to do it. Might as well be him. Like, fuck.
So yeah, like I said, these guys are all going to face each other again somehow, some way. And it's interesting just because, Ray's got history with Chavo, and yet, he's also trying to be a mentor to Azteca and guide him and not get his ego in the way of that too. So that's good.
And I'm kind of seeing this like what this is eventually going to play out to is going to be the two veterans putting the younger guy over. And you know what? I have no problem with it at all.
Yeah.
Because the thing is you have two legs of this triad that are in that phase of their careers. That's where they are.
Yeah, it's to help the younger talent, and they are. They really are, I mean,
oh yeah, it's like you can see Mysterio's backstage influence because you can definitely see like some in-ring movements and stuff that have been tweaked because of his influence. And the thing is with Chavo has been such a steady hand for so long.
Yeah.
That he's one of those guys that's like, okay, cool, like, you know what? Like, you're a hell of a worker, but you know what? I'm not 100% sure you're ready for this, but you know what? I could put you out there with him and he can get you through this. Come hell or high water, he can get you through this.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're all helping each other, and that even Vampiro helping Pentagon Jr. back in season 1, all across the board. It's great stuff.
It's not only storytelling; it's multi-layer storytelling. Like it's so good because in the cool part about the one thing about Lucha Underground that I will give them that I think is awesome is they don't run away from outside knowledge. Like, everybody knows who these people are outside of this show.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the thing is this show has opened up a totally new fan base to them. I mean, it's such a cool environment because everybody's benefiting. Like, I don't think there's anybody in the whole group that's not.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even the guys at the bottom of the totem pole are still getting some national television exposure in a market they would have never gotten.
Yeah. I mean, a Lucha Libre product on American TV it's just amazing.
Yeah, and to top it off, like the thing that's okay, I'm gonna kind of go off on about a 45-second tirade. You can just route me back.
Okay. We got one segment, and then we'll jump back to last week's show.
Okay, so we've got the one thing that I find the most humorous about Lucha Underground is it's Vince McMahon. This is sports entertainment because it's the blend of the backstage and what's going on in the ring. This Lucha Underground is what Vince McMahon wants to do. But he doesn't know how. And he doesn't think that the crowd will accept it. Like, this is something that I would like to see, like, if the rumors are true and they happen to be acquiring a 3-letter brand this week, some of that talent, like, I would like to see Vince put energy into something like this. Because it's the closest thing to what Vince envisions that has ever existed.
Yeah, and that's a whole big discussion for another time. In fact, I'm going to be trying to do Smash This podcast roundtable discussion on TNA within the next day or so.
Word.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I find it so funny. It's like this is kind of an anomaly of the wrestling world. It's kind of its own universe. But it's the epitome. Like, I think that if I could just go and like unzip VKM's head and spill it out on the table, I'd be willing to make a bet I could find enough moving pieces in there to make what we're talking about. And he's one of those guys that he's got the budget to do it. So it's like I can see it. Like, this is not far-fetched for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's
a totally different. I mean, it's an off-the-wall thought, but if you actually think about it for a second, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the weird part about it. It's like you're going like, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then you're just kind of going, no, it's the blend of special effects and the in-ring and the storytelling and all of that stuff to where he can make it as grandiose as he wanted to make it. Yeah. And it was his own universe, and he didn't have to worry about any outside forces.
And but Vince has only touched on stuff like that just very
briefly.
Very briefly in this storyline or that storyline. Yeah.
But it's a unique concept. Like that thought process, because it's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's like, I started thinking about that a couple of days ago because I had this horrible problem that I don't have an off switch on my brain. And I was going like, it sounds bonkers. But the more you think about it, the more that it makes sense.
Yeah.
So the last segment, we had the battle of the Juniors, and then we got to the last segment. Now I've got a beef with the last segment, but you go ahead and run it down.
There was a lot of dialogue from Black Lotus that I'm going to have to listen to again, so I'm not going to repeat any of it. It was really deep, but by the time the segment was over and I figured out who it was, it all just kind of blew by me, you know? It was like, okay, what is this? She's lighting candles. It's like meditating, deep thoughts with, who the hell is this? Oh, it's Black Lotus. Oh, she's on vacation in, where did Cueto say she was last week? Hong Kong, China, something?
Yeah, probably, something like that.
Yeah, that's where he said she was like, she was off on a trip somewhere. I forget exactly how he worded it. But he just kind of was like, Black Lotus is gone, but whatever. Oh, he was telling that to Dragon Azteca Jr. because he wanted a rematch with her, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, I'm really curious where she comes back. At what point does she get re-injected into the storyline? Because she's a total wild card.
Well, yeah, I mean, she got destroyed last season along with Dragon Azteca Jr. from Pentagon Dark. Okay.
Right.
And which was out of nowhere, you know. It was just Pentagon Dark being all heelish, you know.
Pentagon Darky.
Yes, yeah. Ultra dark. Or what's that? Milky Way dark. Yeah. It's like
there we go. Pentagon Milky Way dark. This thing's just gotten really weird, but let's go with it.
I damn it, I want a candy bar now. Anyways. So she says a lot of stuff, and like I said, I have to go back and listen to it all. She's lighting candles, and she's talking about getting back to the temple to get revenge on Pentagon Dark, and she's bringing with her the Black Lotus Triad, and it's basically 3 looking ninja guys that we also saw. And whenever we see a little bitty piece of that season 3 trailer that we saw, you know, before the season started, we start to see little pieces come together. It's like, oh, there's that, you know, and the little thing goes off in the back of my head, ooh, you know,
they're really good at planting eggs. That's the one thing that's the one thing I do appreciate is it's tremendous television writing is what it is, and that's the thing that's and that's the beautiful aspect of it. It's TV show that's also a wrestling show. It's every week I sit down mind blown. It's perfect what it is. How it exists, it's perfect. I wish there was more of it, but I dig it a lot.
Yeah. So she's going to be on her way back to the temple soon. We don't know how soon. You know, she's probably, you know, kill some bitches on the way. But she's bringing the 3 black-clad guys with her, going after Pentagon Dark, and man, all these forces slowly coming down on the temple. Oh man, I mean, you just know that season 3 is going to end in some kind of nuclear temple warfare. It's just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
But my beef with this last segment was what was with the ninjas?
That's the Black Lotus Triad. Triad as in 3 guys that she's bringing with.
Okay, but you also know the Black Lotus Triad is also a well-established criminal organization in Southeast Asia, and the Black the Black Lotus Triad are more Yakuza and far less ninja.
Oh.
So, like, in my opinion, like, if I could have fantasy booked that scenario, like, if they want to have the 3 ninja guys, cool. But you know who I have walk up next to her in a black 3-piece suit? Shibata.
Oh.
And you would watch it, like, it would be over, dude. I'd mess myself, and it would be done.
Nice.
Because that's a guy that I could legit go, that guy's a killer. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to ask anything else. I know that guy is going to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that was like the only thing I was sitting there going, like, what's with the ninjas? Like, these guys, like, in my opinion, button-down black suit, just looking badass.
Yeah.
And in that way, when they can come out to the ring, they come out to the ring like Los Ingobernables. They come out with the suits, and it's just a different kind of vibe. Like, yeah. I mean, I know what they're going for with the ninjas. Like, nobody needs to really break that one down for me. This is a Robert Rodriguez network. Quentin Tarantino is involved, and we know if it can have a ninja, by God, it will have a ninja. So it's okay.
You're right. So it's going to be interesting because I have absolutely no clue who these 3 guys are. You know?
Neither do I. That's the one beautiful aspect of this is like the spoilers are out there. You know exactly where they are, and you can choose to ignore them.
Yeah, yeah. Like I want to know, but I don't want to know that bad to where if I look it up, then I'm going to be like.
I've had like one thing ruined for me. Now, granted, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
But I got it. But it was like one of those things, like, it kind of happened, but it was like, all right, like, you know, like, I had seen the writing on the wall with that eventually, like, yeah, whatever. Like, okay, cool. Let's see how we get there. Like, that's more what I get to do. It's like, okay, I know the outcome, but what's the story to get to that outcome?
Yeah, same here, yeah. So that's it for this week's episode. Awesome episode, 4 matches, and all this other background story stuff is just, like I said, by the end of this, my head was just spinning. It's like, holy crap.
Dude, they've crammed a bunch of stuff into the last 2 weeks. I mean, a bunch of stuff into the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the storyline stuff is just exploding off the screen.
Yeah, I can definitely see after we get to about the 8th or 10th episode, I could definitely see myself sitting down and doing a Saturday marathon just to see if I missed anything, which I can guarantee I have.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, I mean, that's crazy, dude. Like, how many times have you gone back and rewatched a wrestling show?
Yeah, I mean, I do that with the network once in a while, but I'll watch only like part of an old pay-per-view, be like, oh, that was
you go back and watch a match.
Yeah.
Like, I could sit down and rewatch these entire shows.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Like, I mean, yeah, like, dude, I'm cherry picker extraordinaire, man. Like, I've been kind of working my way through Meltzer's 5-star list throughout the ages.
Yeah.
And it's been fun because it's kind of like, okay, cool. Like, all right, we're going to this pay-per-view. You hit play. You fast forward to this point. You hit play. You watch that 20 minutes. You don't have to watch everything else that took place around it. You move on to the next match. Yeah, I mean, these shows, I don't want to do that. Like, now, I'm not going to lie, man. Like, I've watched Vampiro and Pentagon probably a dozen times.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I've also rewatched every episode from the first 2 seasons in their entirety at least once.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, like, that to me, that's such a cool thing. It's just such a cool thing to have because it's so atypical to the rest of the quote-unquote the major wrestling universe.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch season 1 again just because, I mean, it didn't have quite the storytelling as this last season and this season, but there was a lot of good stuff in it nonetheless.
And you got to see the learning process. Like, that was the thing I liked about season 1 was the fact that, like, as they got comfortable with something, you could kind of see them step it up a little bit. And as they got comfortable with something, they stepped it up a little bit. Like, it was a gradual process. Like, that season built, like, well, every one of their seasons is built to a crescendo at Ultima Lucha. Yeah. But, Like, that was kind of a fun season to watch. It was kind of like watching, like, the first couple seasons of, like, the Mythbusters. Like, you saw where they started, which was, like, two dudes in a shop with some really cool stuff. Yeah. And then, like, as time went on, things got added on. And that happened over the course of the first season. Now, granted, they grew a ton in that first season. But that was the fun part about watching it. It was like they added new things in. They added new areas onto they started utilizing new areas in the temple that they were not necessarily utilizing before. Or they were utilizing those areas differently. I mean, it's cool. Every show they go through, it seems like they do something changes just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it gets better. So as long as they can continue to do that, dude, that's awesome. Like,
they keep it fresh, yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we're going to jump back to last week's episode just for a bit before we wrap up this week's show. There was a segment in Dario Cueto's office where he had like a bunch of people coming in at the same time, or what I should say, one after the other. And some of it happened so fast, if you blinked, you missed it. And I'm going to talk about the segment where he's sitting in his office and he gets the box of hats with the, the 423 get fame, whatever. He kind of sets it off to the side and he's got an envelope. In the envelope is pictures. And this is what, and I don't know how many reviews I either read through or watched portions of after the episode, because I was trying to see what other people's either thought of it or if they caught something that I didn't see, and almost no one got this. Then all of a sudden, in the midst of all my research, going through like Twitter posts, and it's like, oh, hey, check this out. This might be what they're talking about. Found a link to a website on businessinsider.com this is from like for almost exactly a year ago. And there's a terrifying island in Mexico that's full of hundreds of mutated dolls. If you blinked, you missed what was in these pictures that he was looking at on his desk, the ones that, got thrown in the can and mysteriously ended up back on his desk. There were little...
Dude, it's the boogeyman.
Yeah, little... Oh, God. There was these little...
It's the boogeyman. Embrace this.
I know. No, that would be horrible.
You're right, but you know what? It would be amazing because Lucha Underground would make it amazing.
He's got a Legends deal. I don't see that happening. But
a boy can dream. It'll be okay. Carry on.
All right. So it's these pictures of these dolls that are on this island that are all dilapidated, nasty, dirty. The story behind this is, and I don't want this to drag on too long. Just Google Mexico Island of Dolls, okay? And you'll just get a plethora of creepy shit thrown at you. The backstory is this guy back in the 50s left his wife and kid to go be a hermit on this island. A little girl dies, and after this little girl died or drowns, just outside of the island, then the ghost of this little girl told him to like collect all these dolls, and I know I'm like shortening this up a lot, but just bear with me. He over the course of the next 50 years, between 1950 and whenever he died within the last decade or whatever it was, he hung up hundreds and thousands of these little nasty dolls all over this island, and the pictures, the one after the other in this article,
creepy as hell.
Oh my God, it's the stuff that nightmares are made of.
Yeah, dude, that's the reason why I didn't have any kids, man. Creepy little bastards. Like, dude, my friend's little boy, dude, like he crashed at my house one night. It was so funny, man. Like crashed out. He's got long ass hair, dude. Like he's a little hippie kid. And dude, he came in to wake me up in the middle of the night, man. Like I had a ring flashback, dude. Almost got smoked, man. I almost punched him straight in the face. Not even gonna lie. Don't do well with that. No. Oh, thank you. So you like send me the creepy dolls? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, I'm going to go to Wikipedia. I'm going to read the article. Don't need to see any photos. Good.
Okay. So, and the island is a very popular tourist site.
Now, if I ever go to Mexico, I'm going there. Goddamn right I am. But
right. And you may never come back.
That'll be all right. Okay. Nobody will miss me that much. And plus, think I will be celebrated for eternity on the tubes of views.
So here's the creepiest part of this whole little story. 50 years after moving to the island, Don Julian Santana, that's the gentleman's name who hung up all these dolls, he was found dead, floating in the canal in the very spot he claimed to have found the little girl. So just let that swirl around in your head a little bit, and just wondering how in the blue hell this is going to tie in with Lucha Underground.
Yeah, like what's coming from there?
I don't know, but it's...
And see, this is once again, dude, this is great storytelling.
Oh,
this
sure.
is taking something that exists in reality. You can go there, visit it, take photos. You can do all of these things.
The best part of it is it's something significant. Do you know why?
Because it reappeared on his desk?
No, because Krista Joseph tweeted about it. That's why.
Cheater.
I'm just saying, okay? I'm not gonna,
Dude, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't have the ability to be able to capture a high-res image and then to be able to continue to depixelate it from there to be able to search the images back. Sorry, I didn't have that $4,000 piece of photo editing software that I would have needed to do that. My bad. Sorry. Sorry, my bad.
I know I'm way overthinking of this, and I'm going to say this, and then we'll wrap this up. The fact that Dario looked at these photos and was like freaked out, and then Ricky, damn it, now I forgot his last name. It's not Ricky Martinez. It's Ricky something else, isn't it?
Oh, I have no clue.
Like, we haven't seen him since basically season 1. And he's asking like when he's going to get his next match. He hands Ricky, whatever his last name is, I forget. He hands him the photos. He's like, "Here, you can have them." He's like, "Oh, cool." So what's to say somewhere down the road, Ricky is looking at these pictures and something happens to him because of these pictures, and he gets transformed into something, and that's so Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
But it's...
Oh, 100%. Like, once again, man, it's you're talking... this is great storytelling. It's like they're dropping eggs. Like, here's a little pellet, and here's a little pellet, and here's a little pellet. It's Pac-Man. And we're just going to walk you down the line. Okay, and here's a power pellet. Okay, cool. Now, this was a ton of information condensed into a very small space.
Yeah.
And then the next week, they just gave you a little bit more and a little bit more. I mean, dude, it's like I can't say enough good things about this show. And I realize that there are some people out there that just don't get it. Like, they can't – their suspension of disbelief doesn't go that far. And that's cool.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's not their cup of tea, that's fine,
But it's like, I think there's some people that's like, they've gotten lost in Vince Land. They've gotten lost in Ring of Honor. They've gotten lost wherever they're at in the world of wrestling. And it's like, that's all they want to do anymore. And it's like they're not willing to go outside of that box. And it's like, I think if more people got the opportunity to sit down and watch this. That's why I'm really hoping they get like a video on demand contract with like Netflix or Hulu or anybody, because this is something that I think will kind of be a cultural phenomenon thing. Like, I think this is going to be something that will be remembered long after its storyline is completed.
Oh yeah. And it's just the fact that so many of these guys that are top-notch performers on this show are now getting booked in the indies all over the U.S. like Phoenix, Pentagon Jr.
Yeah, Phoenix, Pentagon Jr., Drago.
Jeff Cobb, a.k.a. Matanza, is all over the place. You know, these guys are getting out of Mexico.
Part about it is, like, the one person who really hasn't gotten out of Mexico much yet is Taya.
No, but she's doing big things with Mundo down in AAA, because AAA he just became one of their
he's the Latin American champ off of he won that title off of Pentagon at Triple Mania.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, and I didn't watch the whole thing. All I know is that Taya came down to the ring with Pentagon Jr., turned on him, and now she's with Mundo.
I love Taya. I'm usually not a blonde guy, but she's got something about her that it's just like, please come over here and completely fuck up my life. Come on. you know you want to. Come on. Like, you're just that right kind of crazy. You're like 10 pounds of crazy in a 5-pound bag. Like, come on. Like, we could totally do this. It's kind of like, it's like, I haven't spent years in therapy. It'll be okay.
And she's an ass kicker.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, dude, I can't, I will, rarely will I ever say, rarely will ever you hear me say something negative about this show. Like,
yeah.
You know, like, I watched the first season. I kind of got in after about 8 or 9 episodes. It's like, finally, like, the information traveled to me.
Yeah.
And once I got on from there, it was one of those, like, I mean, like, don't tell anybody, internet, but I had to search out the first 8 episodes through nefarious means.
Oh, yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like, it's kind of a growth process, but it's fun to kind of see where these characters are going. And I know that some of the characters, their contracts are coming to an end, and they're choosing to do other things or whatever they choose to do. Yeah. But I also see it from a perspective of, if Lucha Underground has proved us nothing else so far, they have the ability to be able to make stars.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They have the ability to be able to make stars. So if a star leaves, there's going to be somebody else in his place in a matter of minutes. And the person coming in behind them could be just as talented, if not more so.
And there's going to be so many more people just showing up this season. Within 10 episodes, I know my head's going to be absolutely spinning.
Oh, dude, this whole season is going to be nuts, and it's because it's and even more so, it's because it's a longer season. I mean, we're going to have even more information shoved into this box as we go. Like, I mean, it's just it blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome stuff. So that'll do it for this one. Yeah, like I said, you know, they crammed so much into the 1 hour, but it's never feels like it's, oh god, it's so much I can't watch this anymore. It's like, oh, but what if they went to 2? And of course, I don't want it to go to 2 hours, but what if they went to 2 hours and had even more? Oh my god, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, they have just the correct amount of television time, and they have this finite amount of television time. They get an hour, okay? Yeah. And then what they do in that hour is there's no filler in this show at all.
No.
Like, rarely will you see them going like, oh, well, we got to kill 2 minutes, so like that never happens. Like, this is one of those shows where it jumps from point to point to point to point.
Yeah, you're never going to see Dario go out there and cut a 25-minute, you know, shitty.
Yeah, you're never going to see that. And it's like, and it's something where maybe some other companies should take notice. Maybe they should look at it and go, hey, like, you know what? Like, these guys have got a concept. You know what? We can make a concept too. Let's try it. Like, yeah. I mean, I find it refreshing that somebody was willing to step far enough outside of the box to attempt this.
Oh yeah.
And, I find that awesome. And it's like, and I would love to see more things like this. It's like, the more things we can get of kind of different veins of this, like, I mean, I know there's some promotions that are doing more like shoot fighting style. So it's like less flips, more fists. Stuff kind of like that. I mean, it's like these specialized promotions bring something totally different.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, and the cool part about this is, it's an anomaly. It only exists on our television. It only exists in one place. And you have to travel to that place to go there and watch it live. So it's everybody has their own personal temple in their living room. That's the cool part about this show. And that's the one thing that I try to tell everybody. It's like the storytelling will pull, the wrestling will entertain you. The storytelling will pull you in if you let it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I give G-Rod from the Wrestle Addict shit all the time because he lives in L.A. You know, he's not that far away from where they tape these.
And he's never been.
I'm like, dude, like, what is the matter with you?
Dude, it's like, man, I would have been on the roof. Right. Like within like day 1 of season 2, like I would have quit my job, sold all of my earthly belongings, and moved to the front door of the soundstage.
Right. Just so I could be first in line all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a weird. I mean, dude, it's like one of those things. Like I can't say enough good about it. Yeah. It's fun, man. Like I'm ready for next week already.
It's such a unique fan base because they know the stuff was shot like a year in advance, or not quite. I'm just exaggerating, but and the ones that love it so much are like, especially the ones who were there, are like. It's almost like they gotta like sign something as soon as they walk in the door. Whatever you see here, you cannot tell a soul, or we will kill you.
Yeah, and like very, very little. I mean, the thing is they post their own rundown every year. They post it themselves.
Yeah,
but the beautiful aspect of it is because it is a television show, and all the events took place on one day, and because it's considered a television show and not a promotion, there's not a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm okay with that. Like, please keep it that way because it means that less things will get spoiled for all of us.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm okay with stuff like, Sami Callihan shows up this season. Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah, because you're building hype at that point. Like, if you're saying, hey, like, oh, dude, Sami Callihan, AR Fox, like, whoever else is showing up. It's like, I mean... You're building hype at that point. So it's like you're not saying like, this person's going to appear here. It's just like this person's going to appear. We've got 40 episodes this season. It could be somewhere between 1 and 40.
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, it's great, man. It's like the storytelling aspect is the part that I love because you have definitive good guys and definitive bad guys. That's something you rarely have anywhere else.
Yeah, instead of a million tweeners, you've got this ultimate fight between good and evil.
Yeah, and to me, that's wrestling storytelling 101. Yeah. You have to have a good guy, or to quote JR, you have to have a heel, and you have to have a baby face.
And Dario Cueto just goes, the fuck is a baby face?
Are you a good guy or a bad guy? Oh, we're a bad guy. Okay, good. We're glad we have that clarified.
And while I'm mulling this over my head, I'm going to beat you to death with this little Red Bull.
Dude, that Red Bull, I mean, interesting fact of the day, that Red Bull, when it was originally purchased, was white. So...
Yikes.
Man, let's wrap this up. We're going to let people get back onto that good night. And next week, do this again. Talk some more Lucha. Some more flips, more fists.
Same Lucha time, same Lucha channel. You bet, dude. We'll be here.
Done and done, man.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.